Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. This time we are looking at large language models, LLMs. You've sent us some really interesting excerpts from a white paper called Foundational Large Language Models and Text Generation. So we're gonna dig into that. You've probably heard of ChatGPT, right?
Right.
Well, that's an LLM in action.
It is.
But honestly, there's so much more to these things than just chatbots.
Yeah, there really is. LLMs are changing so rapidly. And in this deep dive, we're going to unpack how they work. We're going to explore the different types that have emerged. And we'll even touch on some of the groundbreaking advancements, like really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with these LLMs.
Yeah, it's kind of like having this super smart computer that's read almost everything on the internet and can now use language just like we do. It can write stories, it can answer your questions, it can even generate code. It's pretty wild.
It is wild.
Let's start with the foundation. How do these things even work?
Yeah, great question.
Well, these LLMs rely on a really powerful architecture called the transformer.
Not the robots in disguise.
No,
Although that would be cool.
that would be cool.
But this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Think about how you read a sentence. You don't just focus on individual words, right? You consider the whole sentence to get the meaning. That's exactly what transformers allow LLMs to do. They understand the relationships between words. In a sentence, even across long paragraphs, actually, the white paper uses the analogy of self-attention,
Okay.
where each word is basically paying attention to all the other words to get the full context.
So it's like each word is looking around at its neighbors and saying like, okay, what's my role here? How do I fit into this whole sentence thing?
Exactly.
That's really cool. So this self-attention, that's a huge leap from previous language models, right?
It is, yeah.
This has really opened up a world of possibilities.
For sure.
So now let's take a little trip down memory lane and explore the evolution of LLMs. Starting with some of the early pioneers, like GPT-1, BERT, and GPT-2.
Oh, yeah, the early days.
Yeah.
Each of these models brought some key innovations to the table. GPT-1, for instance. It combined transformers with something called unsupervised pre-training.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
instead of being explicitly taught everything, it actually learned from this massive amount of text data. Almost like it taught itself language by reading the entire internet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's like dropping someone in a library and saying, all right, figure out language. And somehow they managed to do it.
Exactly.
That's GPT-1. Then came BERT, which really excelled at understanding context.
Yeah, BERT was trained on something called masked language modeling. Essentially, it's kind of like a game of predicting missing words. Like imagine the sentence, "the cat sat on the blank." BERT had to figure out that the missing word was "mat." This type of training made BERT really, really good at understanding the nuances of language, the relationships between words in a sentence.
So it's not just about knowing the words, but also understanding how they work together.
Yeah,
Like in that example, BERT had to understand that cats like to sit on soft things
yeah,
and that mats are usually found on the floor.
exactly.
And then came GPT-2, which took things up a notch by showing the power of scaling up both the model size and the data it learned from.
Yeah, GPT-2, much
Yes,
bigger,
yeah.
boasting 1.5 billion parameters, which was massive at the time.
Wow.
And it could perform something called zero-shot learning,
Okay, zero-shot learning.
meaning it could tackle tasks it hadn't been specifically trained for. Imagine being able to learn something new without being explicitly taught. That's zero-shot learning.
So it's like being able to speak a new language just by reading a few books in that language.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing. But you know what's really interesting about GPT-2?
What's that?
The initial release was actually delayed
Oh, why is that?
because of concerns about its potential for misuse. Like imagine a program that could generate really realistic text. It could be used to create fake news, spread misinformation.
Yeah, you start to think about some of the ethical implications here.
Absolutely. The power of these models raises these important questions
Mm-hmm.
about responsibility and, potential impact on society.
For sure, for sure. And speaking of power, the arrival of giants like GPT-3 and Lambda really took the LLM world by storm.
Oh, yeah. The big guys came in.
Yeah, now we're talking massive models. GPT-3 with a mind-boggling 175 billion parameters.
Huge.
And Google's Lambda, specially designed for natural and engaging conversations, it really set a new standard for chatbots.
Totally. These models weren't just research projects anymore. They were becoming powerful tools with real-world applications. GPT-3, for example, could perform a wide range of tasks with just a few prompts, even in zero-shot settings. and Lambda. Conversations felt remarkably human-like.
It's like these models were saying, all right, world, we're not just playing around anymore. We're ready to do some serious work.
Yeah.
But then things kind of shifted, right? From simply scaling up to scaling smarter.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Models like Gopher and Chinchilla, they came along and they challenged that assumption that simply increasing model size was always the best way forward. Chinchilla, actually a smaller model, outperformed its larger counterpart, Gopher, by focusing on the quality and quantity of the training data.
So it's not always about bigger is better.
No, it's more nuanced than that.
Okay.
Chinchilla really showed that scaling up the training dataset proportionally to the model size could lead to much better performance with the same computational resources. It's not just about having a big brain. It's about having the right information to learn from.
It's like having a really good teacher.
Exactly.
Okay, so what do you think? What do you think about the future of model scaling?
Well, it's an interesting question. Chinchilla's findings were kind of a game changer, and I think they've influenced the development of subsequent models. Models like PaLM, PaLM2, and ultimately Google's most advanced LLM, Gemini.
Gemini, okay. Speaking of Gemini,
Yeah.
let's talk about this cutting-edge model. This isn't just your typical text-based LLM, is it? Gemini is multimodal.
That's right. Multimodal means it can understand and work with more than just text. It can process images, audio, and video, opening up a whole new realm of possibilities.
So it's like having an LLM that can watch a movie, listen to a song, and read a book all at the same time,
Yeah,
and understand how they all relate to each other.
exactly.
That's pretty incredible.
Imagine feeding Gemini a research paper, a lecture recording, and your own notes. And it's able to answer your research questions by synthesizing all of that information.
It's like having a research assistant that can, like, process all this information from different sources and then just give you a concise, insightful answer.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So what can Gemini do?
Well, it can process massive code bases, answer really complex coding questions, even learn new languages just based on reference materials that you give it. It can even analyze entire movies, like pinpointing specific timestamps and answering detailed questions about the movie.
Wow. And Gemini 1.5 Pro, the latest version, can handle a context window of millions of tokens. That's like remembering multiple long documents, hours of video and audio all at once. That's some serious brain power.
It is, yeah.
But even with all this power,
Yeah.
LLMs still need some guidance,
Oh,
right?
completely. They need to be fine-tuned for specific tasks and applications.
So it's like sending someone to medical school.
Yeah,
After they've gotten a general college education, they already had the foundation, but now they're specializing.
exactly.
So you've got different types of fine-tuning.
Yeah.
Instruction tuning to improve their ability to follow instructions, dialogue tuning for more natural-sounding conversations, and safety tuning to mitigate bias and ensure responsible outputs.
Very important. And then there's RLHF, reinforcement learning from human feedback. This involves training the LLM to align its responses with human preferences, making it more helpful, truthful, and safe.
So it's like teaching the LLM to be a good conversational partner and provide information in a way that aligns with, human values and expectations.
Exactly.
This is how companies like Google are working to make these powerful LLMs more reliable and trustworthy for everyday use.
For sure.
But let's not forget, all this processing power comes at a cost, right?
It does, yeah.
LLMs can be quite computationally expensive.
Yeah, they can be slow and costly to use.
That's true. So are researchers working on ways to kind of address this?
They are, yeah. They're working on various techniques to accelerate what we call inference, which is basically the process of using the LLM to generate output.
So it's like trying to speed up the LLM's thought process.
Yeah.
So it can give us answers more quickly and efficiently.
Yeah, exactly. There are several approaches. Quantization, which basically reduces the precision of model parameters for faster calculations. Then there's distillation, where a smaller, faster model is trained to mimic the behavior of its larger counterpart. All about making these powerful LLMs more practical and accessible for a wider range of applications.
So there's a lot of really exciting work being done to make LLMs faster, more efficient, and more accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to see how far this technology has come in such a short amount of time.
It's truly remarkable, yeah.
It is, and we've only just scratched the surface of what's possible.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground already.
Yeah, we have.
But maybe let's pause here
Okay.
and come back in the next part of our deep dive to explore even more about these amazing LLMs. Welcome back.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of, like, the technical ground, how these LLMs work, kind of where they came from.
Yeah, the nuts and bolts.
Yeah. But now I want to shift gears a little bit and see how are these LLMs actually being used in the real world? What are they doing?
Yeah, that's the exciting part,
Yeah.
seeing them in action.
Yeah, yeah. I'm particularly fascinated by their potential in code and mathematics.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where LLMs can help write better code, solve complex equations, maybe even discover new mathematical theorems.
It's already happening. Like AlphaCode 2, for example, combines Gemini's reasoning abilities with these specialized tools, and it can tackle competitive coding problems. It takes a problem description and actually generates a solution. And it's ranked among the top 15% of competitive coders on Codeforces.
Whoa, that's like having an AI coding partner. That
Yeah.
helps you brainstorm solutions and write more efficient code, no more late nights debugging.
Exactly.
But what about pushing the boundaries of mathematics itself?
Well, there's FunSearch. It pairs an LLM with an evaluator, and it's already solved the CAPSET problem, a long-standing challenge in mathematics.
Wow.
It's even discovered more efficient algorithms for bin packing,
Yeah.
which has huge implications for things like, data center efficiency.
So LLMs aren't just helping us solve existing problems. They're expanding what's even possible in these fields.
Totally.
It really it makes you wonder what breakthroughs are just around the corner.
It really does. And then there's alpha geometry, which is kind of changing the game in geometric theorem proving. It can solve problems that even Olympiad gold medalists find difficult. So we're talking about AI demonstrating advanced mathematical reasoning.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's move on to another area where I think LLMs are having a major impact, and that's machine translation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious to see how they're changing the way we communicate across languages.
Yeah, think about the possibilities for instant messaging, e-commerce, travel apps.
Yeah.
LLM-powered translation can be so much more fluid and accurate and context-aware than what we've had before.
So no more clunky word-for-word translations that just totally miss the nuances of language. It was about translations that sound natural and really capture the the true meaning.
Exactly. Imagine traveling to a foreign country and having a natural, flowing conversation with locals using an LLM-powered app. It could really break down communication barriers and create a more connected world.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking of understanding text, LLMs are also really good at summarization,
Oh, yeah. Summarization is huge.
which is something I could definitely use in my life.
It's a game changer for news aggregators, research databases, even chat management systems. LLMs can take huge amounts of text and condense it into these really concise summaries, highlighting the key information.
So imagine being able to get a quick summary of a long news article,
Yeah.
or a dense research paper without having to read the whole thing.
Yeah.
That would free up so much time for other things.
Absolutely. Or picture a chat platform that automatically summarizes long threads, bringing the most important points to the forefront. No more endless scrolling trying to catch up.
Oh, that would be a lifesaver. And let's not forget about the classic use case question answer.
Yeah, the bread and butter.
Yeah, but LLMs are taking it to a whole new level.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They can understand complex questions. They factor in the context. They provide really comprehensive answers. It's a major step forward for things like virtual assistants, customer support bots, even academic platforms.
Imagine asking your virtual assistant a detailed question about the weather, but it takes into account your location, the time of year, recent weather patterns, or a customer support bot that can actually answer your questions based on your purchase history and your past interactions with the company. It would feel so much more personalized and helpful.
Absolutely. What about academic platforms where you could ask a complex research question and get a thorough answer, complete with citations and sources?
That would be incredible. It's almost like having this personal assistant that understands your needs and can provide these really tailored responses. But let's not forget about chatbots,
Oh, yeah. Good old chatbots.
which have really come a long way thanks to LLMs.
They have. Traditional chatbots, they were often limited to these pre-scripted responses, and they really struggled with natural conversation. But LLMs are changing that.
Yeah, now we have chatbots that can understand sentiment, context, even humor, and they can engage in these dynamic multi-turn conversations that feel much more human-like.
Think about like a customer service chatbot that not only answers your product questions, but also offers personalized recommendations, maybe even cracks a joke to lighten the mood.
Or a chatbot that provides entertainment.
Yeah.
Maybe it reacts to live events in a stream, or moderates online chats with like a nuanced understanding of the conversation. The possibilities they're really exciting.
It's all about creating more engaging and interactive experiences. And speaking of creative experiences, LLMs are also transforming the world of content creation. We've moved beyond simple text generation. LLMs can now produce human-quality content that's relevant, rich in detail, and it spans various styles and tones.
So imagine marketers using LLMs to generate targeted advertisements, writers using them to brainstorm story ideas,
Yeah.
or even filmmakers using them to, like, create dialogue for characters.
The applications are endless. And the most exciting part, LLMs are constantly learning and evolving. They're becoming more sophisticated, more versatile, and more integrated into our lives.
It's true, LLMs are quickly becoming an integral part of our technological landscape.
Yeah.
But with all this power comes, we need to be mindful of the potential for misuse. As these models become more sophisticated, it's crucial that they're used responsibly.
Absolutely. That's why ongoing research into safety and alignment is so critical. We need to ensure that LLMs are aligned with human values and they're used for good.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing process, but it's one that's essential as this technology continues to advance.
Yeah, well said. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive. What stands out to you the most so far?
For me, it's the sheer range of applications. We've gone from basic text generation to solving complex problems in mathematics and coding, and even multimodal understanding that incorporates images and audio and video. It's incredible how versatile these models have become.
I totally agree. The pace of innovation is truly remarkable. And it makes you wonder, like, what does the future hold for LLMs? What other fields might they transform? What new capabilities will they develop?
Those are great questions. And those are exactly the questions we'll be exploring in the final part of our deep dive. We'll delve into even more fascinating applications of LLMs and discuss the potential impact on various industries and aspects of our lives. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to our final part where we're ready to dive in and see what else is out there in the world of LLMs.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so we've talked about translation, we've talked about summarization, but LLMs are also making waves in something called natural language inference. That sounds pretty complex.
Yeah. It sounds a little intimidating, I know. But it's basically about understanding the logical relationships between pieces of text. So, like, can we infer a certain conclusion based on a given premise? And LLMs, with their deep understanding of, semantics and context, they're becoming really good at this kind of reasoning.
So they're not just processing words, they're like grasping the meaning and the implications.
Exactly. And this opens up some really interesting applications. Think about like sentiment analysis, where businesses can use LLMs to really understand customer opinions from like product reviews, for example. It goes beyond just positive or negative labels to extract more nuanced emotions.
It's like having an AI that can read between the lines, understand the true feelings behind the words.
Exactly. And what about legal document review? LLMs could help lawyers analyze contracts, flag potential issues, identify contradictions. It could save a ton of time and reduce errors.
Or in healthcare, imagine LLMs helping doctors analyze patient descriptions, medical histories to identify potential diagnoses or health risks. The possibilities seem endless.
It really does. It's all about using LLMs to extract deeper meaning from text. And that kind of leads us to another key application, which is text classification. Sounds pretty straightforward, putting things into categories, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
Yeah, I imagine it gets pretty tricky when categories overlap or the text is ambiguous.
Absolutely. But LLMs, with their contextual understanding, can achieve a much higher level of accuracy. No more relying on simple keyword matching, which can lead to all sorts of misclassifications. We're talking about intelligent systems that understand the true nature of the text.
So give me an example. Like, how would that work in practice?
Well, think about spam detection. LLM-powered spam filters could actually understand the intent and context of emails, reducing false positives, making sure you don't miss important messages.
Oh, that would definitely save me some frustration. No more digging through the spam folder for that important email.
Exactly. Or imagine news platforms using LLMs to categorize articles, making it easier for readers to find the content they're actually interested in.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like I'm wading through a sea of information trying to find, what I need.
Absolutely. And businesses could leverage LLMs to analyze customer feedback, identify key themes, and pinpoint areas for improvement, whether it's product design, customer service, or pricing.
So it's all about using LLMs to make sense of this overwhelming amount of text data that we encounter every day.
Yeah.
But we can go even further, right? Like
Yeah.
with text analysis, where LLMs don't just categorize, but they actually uncover deeper patterns and insights.
Yeah, this is where LLMs really shine. They can analyze huge data sets of text, identify trends, extract themes, provide valuable insights. It's like having this AI research assistant that can help us understand the world through language.
So how would that look in a real-world setting? Like, give me an example.
Well, imagine using LLMs for market research, analyzing social media conversations to understand consumer preferences, emerging trends, or academics using LLMs to analyze literary works, uncovering hidden themes, character development, stylistic nuances.
Wow, it's fascinating to think about the depth of analysis that's possible, but we've been focusing a lot on like text-based applications.
Mhm.
What about the world of multimodal LLMs, the ones that can work with images, audio, and video?
Now we're venturing into truly mind-blowing territory. Imagine AI systems that can watch a video and then generate a story based on what they see, or
Mm.
create targeted advertisements based on product images.
Or think about like personalized learning experiences, where educational materials are tailored to individual learning styles by combining text with interactive visuals and audio. That would be a game changer for education.
Absolutely. And what about accessibility? Multimodal LLMs could power tools that describe images and videos for people who are visually impaired, making information more accessible for everyone.
That's a wonderful application. It really highlights the potential for LLMs to have a positive impact on society.
For sure. And the applications extend far beyond that. Imagine LLMs assisting doctors in analyzing medical scans and reports, or researchers integrating information from various sources to accelerate scientific discovery. It's truly remarkable.
It really feels like we're on the cusp of like a new era of intelligent systems.
Mhm.
Systems that can understand and interact with the world in a more holistic way.
It's really a testament to the incredible advancements in artificial intelligence. And honestly, we're only just beginning to explore the possibilities.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive, but before we go, let's recap some of the key takeaways. We've seen LLMs evolve at an incredible pace, becoming more powerful, more efficient, and more versatile.
They're already transforming various fields, from coding and translation to creative content generation and scientific research.
And as these models continue to learn and grow, they have the potential to revolutionize the way we live, work, and interact with the world around us.
It's an exciting time to be witnessing this technological revolution. And who knows what incredible advancements the future holds.
One thing's for sure, LLMs are here to stay. Their impact will only continue to grow. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world of large language models.
Until next time.